Learn how to fill out parties and agents in ISO 20022 versus MT messages and see how their roles change throughout the payment chain. A different aspect of ISO 2022 messages, I would like to take another route and show your payment flow and the different roles parties and agents play. How they should be filled out in a situated to the messages and then put it in relation to Swift MT, as the concept is quite different there. So let's go ahead with the customer create transfer flow, and below the flow I will show you how parties and agents should be filled out in as of ISO 2022 and both their respective equivalents. And as we only consider the interbank space here, we will start looking at this payment from the perspective of the first bank in the chain here in DBank, as you see on the left side. In this scenario, payment is initiated by our corporate customer or debtor on behalf of someone else. And as of ISO 2022, we have a dedicated element to which is called ultimate debtor, when this information would be packed into field 70 remittance information. Then we, as the first bank in a chain, act on our customers or debtor instruction and are called debtor agent. Then we also pass this instruction on to the next bank, and therefore instructing agent in MT 103 would be called sender in the header of the message. One thing to note here is that during their existence phase, and either ISO 2022 gets translated to MT, then in MT sender, and field 52 order institution would be filled out, which is not necessarily done today, but it corresponding to the debtor and instructing agent in either 2.2. Let's move on with instructing agents. And the payment to the instructed agent to the receiver of the message, as you know it from team, then the market infrastructure in between. We don't name in our message yet. What we fill out is the intermediary agent and the creator agent, who later on created the faults to the beneficiary or the creditor of the payment. Hope this is clear so far. We can move one step further to the next leg in the payment chain, where payment passes. And market infrastructure from this perspective, how do parties and agents change? The first bank in the chain is no longer a sending bank nor instructing agent. What, however, remains the same is that there's still an order institution or debt, your agent. Now their sending back in this black becomes the instructing agent, who sends the payment further to the instructed agent. And the US payment is cleared by market infrastructure in ISO 2022. To 2, it's specified in the settlement method element under group header of message. And remember here that the AS of ISO 2022 message in this leg follows market infrastructure usage guidelines, not CBPR+. The rest of the information does not change: creator and its bank, its agent staying the same. Now let's move to the left leg in the interbank space, where payment is sent to the creditor agent, and let's look what changes there. So that agent, that all stays same. Nothing changes there. The bank that used to be instructing agent in the previous Slack will become previous instructing agent. That's logical. The market infrastructure would mention anymore, and the bank that used to be an instructed agent will become instructing agent. It is the sending bank. Now as it sends payment to the creditor agent, this bank will also be mentioned in the instructed agent field. The creator beneficiary of the payment remain the same. It is a static role. They now receive a payment and are very happy that you filled out all the fields correctly. Hope this was helpful. This session will take a look at an ISE element, namely the settlement. This element is new and it doesn't have any direct equivalent MT. It is mandatory in ISO 2022-2 for PAX 8, PAX 9, PAX 4. And that means that we should now, this element is located within the group header of the message under settlement information and settlement method, with the 4 embedded codes belonging to it. In either ISO 2022 messages, you have a choice between the 4 codes that indicate how a payment is booked or settled. These codes are INJ, INDAE, COVE, and CLRG. COTE is the only one we can use for interaction with market infrastructure specific usage guidelines. Under settlement information for correspondent banking, the opposite holds true. So for CBPR plus pair, you might only use INDA, INGA, or COVE codes, and access codes indicate how a payment is booked or settled. It also has influence on the further message search has been settled by the sender. The receiver cannot reject it anymore and should use a return message instead. Let's look at them individually. Settlement method in INGA indicates that the settlement is done by the instructing agent. So by the sender of the message, this is also where the name comes from, instructing this becomes in INGE. So if you look at this flow, it basically means that, for example, Deutsche Bank is an instructing agent, holds an account for the instructed agent, and will settle the payment. So the receiver of the message instructed agent will not be able to reject this message, but only return. Next settlement method, INDA, in that indicates that the settlement is done by the instructed agents. So by the receiver of the message in the slow, it means that Deutsche Bank holds an account and instructed agents, so the receiver will settle the payment. The settlement method COF, it indicates that the settlement will be done by a cover payment, and this message can be used with PAX 8 or PAX 9 advice. Clearing CLRG code is used only for interaction with the market infrastructure, and it indicates that the payment will be done via payment clearing system. So here you go, Inga, Indikovi, and clearing are the 4 I's between settlement method courses that you can use for high-value payments.